Are you familiar with this? Well, there's a reason why I'm not going to put the microphone directly at the base of it. That's right. That's a didgeridoo. Anywho. Yes, yes, thank you. I love you too. I appreciate it. Go over there. Go find something interesting. Uh, we just got back from the park. I got my shower done, and honestly, I feel really good. Um, the progress on the book, it slowed down a little bit this week, just because my actual job that I do was really busy, and it's going to be pretty busy for the next few weeks. But I haven't stopped um, making a few additional edits, and I've kind of reached the point where like a lot of the chapter outlines in my book are the way that I wanted them to be. Most of the major edits that I needed was at the start, just to make sure it like was just consistent. Because when I started it, I didn't really have a clear way that the story ended or how it was going to go. But as I continued working on it day by day over the 3 weeks that it took me to write it, that's when it started like falling into place, and I was able to keep a lot more things consistent. So um, yeah, I plan to have the full notes taking edits done by next week. So um, when that happens, I'll definitely, I'm gonna be excited to share that. I really am. I've been doing a good amount of research also on just like the route that I want to take for publishing, because there's a few options, and I kind of mentioned it I think before, of looking at just publishing through Amazon and maybe a few other places. But then I was doing a little bit more research, and then I think the route that I want to go is to, for now, just starting out, just purchase ISBN numbers that I can assign for my books, because I also want to turn these into audiobooks. So it's just kind of good in the long term plan to have those set up, and I'm going to be excited to share what that looks like. So that way you could also learn and see, if that's the route that you want to take for your books, then that's the way to go. Because what I found out is that if you do a lot of your own self-publishing through Amazon, and you just have Amazon assign you an ISBN number for your book, then it's Amazon that owns the ISBN for that book. So I know there's more details about it, which I'll probably get into later on once I reach that stage. But for now, I'm happy to just continue working and writing. And I mentioned last week how I'm working on other books as well. So even though I may not, even though I may have slowed down a little bit on like the actual like edits for the current book, I haven't stopped writing. I've really hit a point in my life where it's very easy to fit writing into my day to day, and I realize that having this kind of like schedule, this kind of consistency, this kind of balance in my life outside of work is what allows me to be able to make this much progress, on my books, because I'm going for it. I'm doing it. It's happening, and I can't wait to have one book done and the next and the next and the next and the next. And there's yeah there's a number of different books that I'm working on that I have. Some are just rough lore ideas in my Google Docs. Others are much more organized, very similar to Fading Death, where it's like I have it listed chapter by chapter. Hey, down, chill out. And there's characters to follow along to, but I also got to make sure that I'm balancing not overwhelming myself or getting creatively burnt out, because then I'll just lose interest, which has been the story of my writing journey the last decade and a half, really. And so, or the last decade, I should say. So now that I've actually hit a point where where I'm able to take a story from start to finish and work on the characters and create the outlines for it. And some chapters have a lot more pages than others. and it's helping me finish the first drafts. And that's what's so important, is that I have a draft to work with and go forward from. And that's what I'm learning also in this process of, okay, how do I get this done? Because how so and so writes, how another person writes, it's always different from you, because everybody has their own unique way to approach work, to approach accomplishing deadlines and whatnot. So I'm just excited that I've hit a point in my life where it's become so much easier to get writing and get into a state of flow. And so I've definitely kind of scaled back a little bit on staying up until like midnight and working on stuff. Even if I know that, like, I know where I want this next phase of the story that I'm working on to go, still I just make a quick note of it. I don't go into too much detail, and I just let myself get the rest that I need. Because when I'm staying up until midnight consistently every night, it screws up my whole sleeping schedule. And I mean, shit, this entire YouTube channel, going back to when I first started posting consistently in March of last year, or no, March of this year, I'm talking about sleep and how important it is, and how I'm trying to balance sleep, exercise, and diet. Because I kind of did leave a lot of just discipline behind in a lot of the months of August and September, and I kind of got lazy about it, and I know I did. And so even though I got a lot of good writing done during that time, I still let my own personal well-being, health, mindset just kind of get ignored, and I don't want to do that. And especially now that here in Southern California the weather's getting so much nicer, it's so much easier to just first thing in the morning go do our exercise. And that's what we did, getting it done. Because it's a Friday morning, I don't work on Fridays, and so having Friday, Saturday, Sunday mornings to just go immediately to the park, get our walking done, it feels great, and I enjoy doing it a lot. And I'm definitely going to keep that going. And I'm excited when I reach that point where it's March 28th of 2026, because then that'll be the official year that I started posting consistently on YouTube. Except for 1 week, I do remember. 1 week I did miss. Um, I think it was back in August or September. I don't remember. I'd have to double check. But anywho, something else that I did, which I was hesitant to talk about until I actually did it, my hair. If you look at some of the other videos, especially last week, you'll notice that I have maybe more hair. I cut my own hair. I just took a pair of scissors and I just started trimming away. And you know what? It's been on my mind for a bit. Like, why don't I just learn how to cut my own hair? That way it saves me money and I learn a skill. And so the only way I'm going to do it is by actually doing it, cutting my hair. And so I did. I cut my own hair. And I felt a little nervous at first when I did that very first snip, because I was like, what if I screw up? What if it doesn't look good? But then I just kind of like said, you know what, screw it. If it looks really bad, if I screw up badly, then I'll just shave it all. Whatever, it's fine. As a last resort, that you can just always hit the reset like that. It's a lot easier for guys. And I just started cutting at it. I just had my mirror, and I set up my iPad to also kind of act as a mirror with the camera on, to look at myself from another angle. And I just started just grabbing clumps of hair, getting to a length that I liked, and then just snipping away. So now that I've done it once, I'm going to be feel a lot more confident and comfortable recording that process the next time my hair gets really long, because I mean, I want to do it, and eventually I'll learn how to like use the clippers to be able to get like a clean looking fade and whatnot, or something like that on the sides. But I do like a little bit longer length. My hair naturally turns wavy, and so I kind of like letting it be that point. So I think I cut off a little too much and made it a little bit too short right now, but that's okay. It grows fast anyways, so I'm totally fine with it. Totally okay with that and letting it grow from there. So um, something else that I wanted to talk about is what my favorite genre of literature is. And I talked a little bit about authors that I really liked. And I'm gonna do I'm gonna do a future in-depth video where I'm gonna talk about some of my favorite books and the authors and why they're my favorite books and the way that they're written, how they've influenced me. But just to kind of kick off that future video, um, science fiction is my absolute favorite genre of literature, of media, of video games, of movies, TV shows, you name it. Like, just something about science fiction is just, I love it. And I like science fiction that's not too heavy into the science. Like, for example, if you've read like The Martian or Hail Mary by Andy Weir, who's a great author, by the way. Um, but like those stories are very grounded into like a more modern take on science fiction. Or I know there's other books out there that are heavy into the science side of the science fiction of explaining how something could be using a foundation of science that we have today. But I'm also not too heavy into like mixing science fiction and fantasy. So like for example, Star Wars, I love it. I love Star Wars. I grew up watching Star Wars, playing Star Wars games, and it's a lot of fun and it has a long history. But it's not my personal favorite take on science fiction because I know that the fantasy element of it with the Force is really heavy in Star Wars, and it's like okay, like yes, there's magic and science fiction, so it's space fantasy at that point. And same with Warhammer 40k, it's space fantasy. It's not science fiction, but I love Warhammer 40k. I like it more than Star Wars, and maybe I'll talk in another video all about just what Warhammer 40k means to me and my takes on it. But I loved playing Kill Team, smaller tabletop skirmish with teams of like anywhere from like 5 to 20 units. I really like just being able to go like one on one with each unit and playing with friends and just having that full on narrative experience. It's silly, it's fun, it's great, and also painting the miniatures too. And maybe now that I bring it up, I still have units that are unassembled, unboxed, which I should probably finish painting. I have paints, I have brushes. They've just been sitting in a storage bin, waiting to be completed. So maybe I'll do that one video too, where I'll be painting and talking. So who doesn't like a good hobby stream? So we'll see about that. But yeah, science fiction. That's my absolute favorite genre. That's my like if I see a video game, a movie, a TV show, a book that has to do with science fiction, I'm immediately interested. But then what keeps me or not is just okay once I start learning a little bit more about it. Because some science fictions I see and I'm just like, I'm not interested. No thanks. That doesn't really appeal to me. Um, Other ones though is just like I want to know more about it. So um, for example, The Expanse. I have the book on my shelf, Leviathan Wakes, the first book of the series, which is my favorite book of that series. The first two books really are my favorite ones because that has to do a lot with spoilers. If anybody's watching The Expanse or reading The Expanse, it hasn't gotten this far. Spoiler warning. It follows a lot on just the journey of the characters dealing with the arrival of the proto molecule, and it's I love the way it's written, and what I love the most about the Expanse series is the world building around it. How you have three distinct factions: the United Nations on Earth, Mars, and their own like very martial way of living, and the Belters. And I love the Belters, the way that the authors have created their own like unique like Creole dialect, which they speak, and like they'll say things like and like if you read the books, if you watch the show, you'll pick up on it. It's just such a cool take because it's like that's very grounded in the world that we live in right now, and that's very believable. And so I like that element of world building in a setting. So like the world building in the Expanse is what really got me hooked into it, and the story in the first few books, the first two books, is what really hooked me into it. But I just kind of lost interest. I'll be honest, as the stories went on and as the show went on too. So anywho, um, there's other science fictions that I really love. Um, I'll just kind of mention real quickly Robert Heinlein's Starship Troopers. The book and the movie are like a pillar of my of my childhood. And I remember when I first watched it for the first time, I was just getting into playing StarCraft, the first one, and StarCraft Brood War. And so to watch Starship Troopers, it's like, oh my goodness, this is like the Terran and Zerg fighting. So as a child, you watch this and you're just like, this is so fucking cool. So anywho, that was a big instrument in, in just my interests of science fiction and what I like about it. So anywho, I won't ramble on more about that all because if I do, I'm just going to keep on going, and it's going to be a very, very long video because I could ramble on. But I'm really hungry, and it's already 10 o'clock in the morning here, and I just wanted to kind of share a quick little update on how things are going. Oh, another thing. Now that I mention it, as I'm closing here, exercising and walking for me has been one of, if not the best method of refreshing my creativity. Okay, you'll notice that there's a quick cut in this video right here towards the end because the storage filled up on the phone. And I was really, really worried because I thought that I had to completely record this video, which I didn't, thankfully. But storage got full, so I had to clear space. Anyways, as I was saying, closing up here, exercise has become a great way for me to refresh and reset my creativity because when I do the walking at the park with Arlo, I leave my phone in the car. I don't take any headsets, no music, no nothing. It's just my thoughts and I and Arlo as we're walking. And on days like today, when we go and it's just us and we're just focusing on the walk, that is such a great time for me to just think through plots, storylines, character developments, dialogue, even all the little details of, okay, what do I want next to happen in the story? And I did this a lot for Fading Death, and I'm doing it a lot for other books that I'm working on because that time that I have is where I just have a lot of fresh, raw, creative ideas with my imagination, and it just helps so much in the process going forward from there in editing or writing and adding more to be able to continue taking stories forward. So that for sure, it's going to become a foundation for me. Um, just kind of tying back into like what I was talking about earlier, my own personal health, just how important it is to get that walking and exercise done. So that's really it that I have to share today. I'm really hungry. I want to get eating. So thank you so much for tuning in. It means a lot. So good luck on your writing. If you have any questions, if you have any input to share, or any ideas, or anything you do to feel refreshed or recharged, let me know. I appreciate it. Thank you.